Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Ariana, but you can call me Ari, and today we're just vibing. We are chilling. We going to Target. No, we're not. We're not going to Target. We're going to Trader Joe's. We're going to a new library that I have access to now that I've moved. I've never been, so I'm going today. I have a list of books that I've scouted at this library that I know they have. So we just gonna look through the Dewey Decimal System and pick them up on our own. And then I'm going to another library that has a book that I have on hold. I've been to that library enough times, so I don't need to, I don't want to look through. Also, do you like my earrings? They are books stacked on top of each other with a little flower on top. I got them from a festival I went to a couple weeks ago. It was super fun, super cute. And I can't remember who made them, but the woman who, her little setup, it was so cute. She had so many cute earrings, but these stood out to me the most. So cute. Also, if anyone cares, this is what I look like today. I feel very relaxed academia. I don't know, I think it's the glasses. As soon as I put glasses on, I feel like an altered ego kind of comes out, you know? Very casual, laid back, sophisticated, library goer. I'm gonna go now. Let's go. I don't know if you can see it, but there is this really impressive spider web that's been slowly transforming in front of my very eyes. It's hard to see because of the light, but when the sun moves behind the trees, it is so pretty and iridescent. All right, we made it to the promised land that is Trader Joe's. You know, it's a Monday, and I think, by coming to grocery shop on Monday, I would think no one would be here because everyone's working. But it is not the case. It is extremely, extremely busy. All right, we certainly need flowers. Ooh, these are pretty. Gotta get that kale, spinach, potatoes. There you go. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
On the 8th of December.
Okay, thank you so much. Cool. All right, have a good day. Sick. Just left the first library where I picked up my hold for Dominion. I'm excited to read that one. It came out, I think, earlier this year. So I'm trying to get through the books that I've been wanting to read that came out this year, and that's one of them. So now we're at the new library new for me, not a new library, but just new for me. Oh my God. Hey, bunny. Okay, so this library has 2 floors, and I'm heading to the second floor where there is the adult fiction, nonfiction, graphic novels. I know nothing about this book, but it's so pretty. It's book 2 of Cursebound. Love Mariana Enriquez. Haven't read this one yet though. The Attic Child is such a good book. If you haven't read The Attic Child by Lola J, you totally should. Okay, so I'm not able to find Human Acts by Han Kang yet, but I did find Mary by Nat Cassidy. Okay, so upstairs I was able to find all but one book I was looking for. There are 2 that are new that I'm gonna grab, that are on the front shelf that just came out, so I'm gonna grab those. I have a total of 4 books right now, so I think we'll walk out of here with 7 if we include the book that we got from the other library. Everyone meet Chico. Chico and I are not on the best of terms. He hisses at me pretty much every time I show up. Hi, Chico. Chico. No, not today. All right, Chico. All right, I am back home. I am in my apartment. It is a new day. It is the next morning, actually. I start to lose daylight in my apartment at about 4 o'clock, and I wanted to wait until the morning to do this part because it was really hard to see all the books with the shadow that is cast over my house at 4 o'clock. So we're gonna go through all 12 of the books that I have on my list this winter season. And when I say winter, I mean anywhere between like now, anywhere between now and April, okay? So we've got time to get through these. So let's actually start with a book that I am currently reading for a book club, and that is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. This is a narrative nonfiction book about libraries, and it is actually told on the backdrop of a real account of a fire that happened at the Los Angeles Library in 1986 on April 29th. This library housed over 1 million books, and over 1 million books were damaged. Also talks about libraries and breaks down how they function and the history and the beauty and the intricacy of a library and librarians. And honestly, if you're someone who just enjoys reading books, if you're someone who likes going to the library, if you're someone who needs a little bit of reading inspiration, this book is a great one to pick up. Okay, the next one, it immediately caught my eye when I walked into the library, and that is book 2 of Bunny. We Love You, Bunny by Mona Awad. This one came out very recently as well. I wasn't going to get it, but I ended up not being able to pick up one of the other books on my list because it was actually checked out. So I thought, okay, this one can replace that. And this is book 2. This book is about 500 pages long. So the first book was pretty much a fever dream. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was wild and interesting, and I understood kind of the thought behind it. But book 2, I'm a little curious because it's thick, and I don't know, 500 pages of a fever dream sounds insane, but I don't know, when I pick it up, I get really excited because it's something different that I don't know, this book did something. The first book did something different, and I'm hoping the second book can hold up to the standard and the feeling that I had for the first one. So we'll see about We Love You, Bunny. The next 2 books I'm going to talk about together because they're by the same author, and that is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy and Mary by Nat Cassidy. I originally intended to just pick up Mary, but then I remembered When the Wolf Comes Home was on my list as well, and it was set up on like one of those little pedestals, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to pick this one up as well. So Mary, if I'm getting the synopsis right and a gist, is about a middle-aged woman who is going through menopause, and she seemingly has just kind of like a normal life until she starts to write and she starts to have these voices in her head that are urging her to do really wild things. And the ramblings and writings that she's writing down are the words and ideas of an infamous serial killer. This is a woman who probably just loses her shit and goes batshit crazy, and there's that. This is love it, love the concept. And then When the Wolf Comes Home is about a woman named Jess who finds a 5-year-old running away from home from his dad, and she ends up on the run with him. And I guess it's essentially about them running away from this terrible man. And when it says when the wolf finally comes home, no one will be spared. So both of these books are very much the horror thriller vibe that I love. I'm obsessed. And I've just heard really good things about both of these books, so I'm excited to check out Nat Cassidy's writing. I've never encountered Nat Cassidy before. The next one is one that came in the mail after I came home last night, and it is called Cutthroat by Octavia Grant. This book is so little. I think it's like barely 170 pages long, But I read the prologue of this book last night, and let me tell you the drama, the tea. So, from the small synopsis that we get, basically it's about a couple, Eden and her husband. I don't know his name, but Eden and her husband, and everything is going great. She's married, she's living life, she's loving it. And then there are some secrets about her husband that come to the forefront that end up changing not only his life, but hers as well. And I read the prologue, and the prologue, Eden is directly talking to the audience, talking to the reader. And I rarely see this in fiction in a way that is can be pulled off, but I don't know. I think it's such the confidence of Eden. We're directly confronted with her, and that's really exciting. So I'll just read you a little bit of the prologue, but it says, "No, you all found me because you're interested in the Sheldon drama. So here goes. All the speculations about me in the news are correct. Yeah, I did all that shit. I don't feel bad about it. I have no shame in what I did. See, I was once a good woman, a damn good woman. I didn't allow my accomplishments, my degrees, or my money to turn me into a modern woman." And then I'll jump to the end of the prologue, and it says, "Since you're here, get comfortable. Let's take a look back over my life, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I turned into a cutthroat bitch." Eden, show me, girl. Show me, girl. So I think I'm just going to squeeze this one in while I'm reading the library book because it's so small, which I love, and it's going to pack a punch and it's going to be so exciting. It's a great palate cleanser kind of book too. If you're someone like me who's kind of reading lots of heavy material, this one seems very fun and very empowering. Like, yes, cutthroat bitch. So the next one caught my eye just because of the cover. It also came out this summer, I believe. It's called Dominion by Addie Kitchens. This cover is so cool. When I first saw it, I didn't realize what I was seeing, but if you look closely, it is a snake that is like slithering connected to a church house. So, upon reading the synopsis, it is essentially a Black Southern family drama about a Black family living and existing in the church. And it's basically like not everything is as it seems. These people probably have a lot of secrets and drama, and a lot of things come up, and the holy girl ain't so holy, okay? The next one I feel like I have encountered in my life before, but I just don't know where. But I read the synopsis and I had to pick it up. It's called The Marrow Thieves, okay? The Marrow Thieves, and it's won so many awards, so it must be something special. But it's a book about an indigenous people of North America being hunted for their bone marrow. And it is said to have key to something that the rest of the world cannot access, and that is the ability to dream. And so there are these people that are basically on the run for their lives, but we follow a specific group of friends, and one of them in the group may have the answer to how to get these people off their backs and stop hunting their bone marrow. The next one is a book that also came out this summer. It's called What You Leave Behind by Wanda M. Morris. This book was on my radar. I think it was in the video of new reads by Black women and non-binary authors. There's a lot of awesome books that I listed if you're looking for something new to read that have come out this summer, and some of them in that video I've listed that have come out this fall as well. So if you're looking for a new read, that's a great place to go. But this one is honestly, I'm not really sure what it's about, but it seems like it's going to be dealing with like legal battle with like land and housing ownership, and with a family that dates back with a family's home that dates back to the Civil War, and just a lot of like housing like crisis issues and dealing with the legacy of a family that is at risk of losing their land or their home. So I think this is going to turn into one of those like domestic problems where people are fighting for their house, but it gets real personal. I'm not sure. I think that's what's happening. But yeah, it's on my list as well. So the next book on my list for this winter is Something in the Water by Phyllis R. Dixon. This book is about a woman who gets caught up in a environmental crisis. She discovers some dark secrets pertaining to some storms that happened, and after those storms, there was a great amount of contamination in the water, and she gets involved in figuring out what happened, who's at fault, what's going on, and who's involved. And so I guess it's this thriller about environmental crises and environmental disaster and corruption and cover ups. And it sounds very interesting. Essentially, it's a rabbit hole of a conspiracy about what actually happened with the water and who is to blame for it. And she will get herself caught up in a whirlwind of chaos to find out. The next one is a YA novel that I kind of picked up at random. This is called The Best of All Worlds by Kenneth Opel. This book is about a family that goes away to a cottage, I guess a little bit of a vacation, and the next morning they walk outside and there's nothing to see because they are trapped inside of a dome. And they're the only family. This dome just houses them for 3 years. And 3 years later, a new family arrives, and the two families have their own beef and issues and conflicts and trying to figure out where they are, what's going on, and how do they escape. I don't know, I have this interest in, like, I've never been to an escape room, but I love the concept of like figuring out how to get out of a place. Like, I like reading about it because there's so many ways it could go. Like, this could be a dimensional thing, this could be like a government thing, it could be so many things. So this is randomly was a random pick for me, but the synopsis totally drew me in and the cover is interesting. The house is upside down because everything is upside down, honey. All right, let's get into the last couple books. The next one is called The Trees by Percival Everett. This one I bought. I do own this, and I'm happy I do because I think it's gonna take me a little bit to get to it just because of the gravity of the context of this book. The synopsis was intense enough for me, and I just might need a little bit of like a moment to get into it. But this book is about it takes place in Mississippi, and involving detectives trying to uncover the mystery of a series of brutal murders. And these murders keep happening in succession, and it's a critique of white supremacy, and it confronts the painful legacy of lynching in the United States. I have not encountered any of Everett's books before, but I'm excited to get into his writing and seeing how it flows. Um, Again, this is just a book that is going to be very heavy. I just finished reading The Reformatory recently, so I am trying to branch out a little bit. But this is something that I definitely want to get to before April of next year. And the last one is a book that also came out this year, and it is a nonfiction book titled Black and Blues by Imani Perry. How a Color Tells the Story of My People. So basically, this is a meditation on the color blue and how it, I guess, shows up in our history, in our culture, in our media. That's very exciting to me. I'm excited to see what she does with that kind of perspective. So I am very excited to see where this novel goes. That's all 12 books that I am looking forward to reading this winter. I'm curious to know which books you're reading right now. Checking in with you about your reading goals this year. How are you doing? I am maybe like 15 books shy of my reading goal, but that's totally okay. I don't think I'm gonna read 15 books by January 1st, but I could definitely pull out at least a handful of reads because I'm in this zone right now. I guess it's the weather. It's like just it's getting darker sooner, so reading seems to be like a nice kind of thing to do at the end of the day next to like on my couch with the lamp on and a blanket. So I'm definitely going to get some reading in the next couple of months. But again, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all so much for continuing to support me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.